No. Monsters.
Hello, boys and girls. Today we're going to be reading Proverbs 25:28. A person without self-control is like a city with broken down walls. Let's read it one more time. A person without self-control is like a city with broken down walls.
Let's say a child is very stubborn today, just stubborn, won't listen, not budging from their views, and your views are different. How do you move on with that? Like say an 8-year-old or a young person under 10. How do you deal with a stubborn child under 10?
Oh, okay. For me, what I do when he gets stubborn or strong-willed. I do the counting thing, count from 1 to 5. Sometimes I walk away. Because at that moment when they're being stubborn, he's not hearing my point of view because he's in his own way. So the best thing that I can do is to walk away, and then when he calms down, we can have a conversation about the situation and what caused the behavior. So that's what I do.
If a child is really sad and they come home from school, what would you do as a parent?
And my kid is coming from the school, and I want to see the Anthony face or Fedora face is so little sad, and I want to talk to him. What happened, Anthony? Why you sad? You just tell me. I try to help you. And he wanna talk to me because he trusts me and I trust him and try to have everything.
When someone comes in, you must just greet the person good morning.
Manners is how you behave, sometimes towards your parents.
They must be good and helpful when their dad says, please can you help me, and sets up the table.
Be obedient and listen to whatever your parents or grandparents or uncles or
daddies,
or any guardian says.
If you at home and your mom will tell you, do this, just do it. Don't be like, Mom, can I do it afterwards? Because you are going to forget if you watch TV or something like that.
Yeah, if they say go and do something, you just do it the same time as they say that thing.
You don't have to shout, you just have to speak normally, and you don't have to scream and run around.
With you're crying and you want something, you have to say the magic word, please or thank you.
Hey, boys and girls, I'm so happy that you were able to hear all those good things from the other kids and how they were able to share about good behavior, because those are things we want you to practice. We want you to be good and try your best to be your best self. So, say things like please and thank you and excuse me. That's good behavior. That's real good. Now, remember our memory verse. It says in Proverbs 25:28 that a person without self-control is like a city without walls. Brother and sister, without walls. Oh, like how our houses have walls, our homes have walls, and those are there to protect the good inside of your house. Can you imagine if your house didn't have no walls? Boys and girls, huh? Every thief out there will come in and take your TV. Boys and girls, every time it rains, you would feel it in your house. That's not a house. That's not even a good building. That's not how it works. And it's the same way. We want you to keep the good in by, being the best you can be and following the rules. Listen to your mama. Listen to your dad. Listen to your teachers. You protect the evil from coming in your house. Because if we don't follow the rules, we can do some crazy stuff. And believe me, kids, God does not want that. God wants you to be your best self. He wants you to be the best you can be. Hey, remember Joseph? Remember that brother in the Bible? And his coat of many colors. You remember that guy? His brothers were not happy. They were not happy. You got the coat of many colors. Yes, I did. And then he was walking around with it. He was really happy. Well, they put him in a well. And they sold him as a slave in Egypt. But Joseph, even in that situation, he was trying to be his best self. You know what happened? Potiphar down there was happy with him and made him in charge of his whole house. And later on, the Pharaoh, who is in charge of all of Egypt, was so happy with him, made him the governor of the whole country, second only to himself, the Pharaoh. That is good behavior. That's how you practice good behavior. So I'm here now to remind you of a few things that you should keep in mind. You should not bite at school. I know. Who is biting? You were saying, who is that? Some of you are biting. Don't do it. These are not to bite other people. Bad behavior. Number 2, kicking. What? Yes, we don't want you kicking. Kicking is not good behavior. Number 3, pinching. What? Pinching other people is not good behavior. You need to stop pinching if you are a pincher. Number 4, pushing and hitting. That is not for you. That is not good behavior. Do not punch your friend on the playground. Do not punch your brothers and sisters at home. Don't do it, brothers. Don't do it, girls and boys. Number 5, spitting. Don't spit. Nobody wants you to spit on them. Don't spit on anybody. And don't do this either. Look at this boy in this video.
Max, stop right now. You're not going to get a gumball today because you didn't listen to Mommy. Okay?
Max kicked off. He was screaming at the top of his lungs. And Mum and Dad were beside themselves with embarrassment of how to deal with this situation.
Don't do it. Here's some other good tips. When you are in class, if you have a question, put your hand up. Raise your hand, hey, and wait your turn until the teacher calls you, and then you can answer. So put your hand up the next time you're at school. You know what's nice? If you're kind to people, real nice, smile more, especially when they're really old, you know, little old lady on the street walking her dog. Be nice, say hello, all right? Don't be pushing and shoving and trying to be there first. And always remember to be respectful to those in charge. That means your teachers. That means your supervisors. That means the lunch lady. That means the principal at your school. And hey, no making jokes at your principal. No making jokes about your teacher. They're precious, special people. You behave as best as you can. When you're at home, be helpful. Do your chores. Follow directions. Follow the rules. If you are told to go to bed, go to bed. Go to bed. Stop telling me, stop saying, oh, I don't want to go. I got 5 more minutes. Follow the rules. Follow directions. You have to be the best you can be. And that also includes, like if you're outside at school and they put arrows down to walk this way, walk the way you're told. Don't go the opposite way and be, not following good behavior. If you can do these things, you'll be being your best self. Ain't that awesome? Isn't that what God wants you to be? Yes.
Hi, Penta parents. I'm grateful and thankful that I am being part of this Penta Kids for this week. First question is, what do you think the 2 top behavior problems are in preschool age children, and how can a parent identify this and work on fixing them? Well, for me as a teacher, as an early childhood educator, in my experience as a teacher, but not a parent yet, prolonged tantrums and physical and verbal aggression. So maybe you know what's tantrums already. I won't really talk about that. Physical is like, you know, when they're hitting, biting, or fighting over toys. But these are actually common for kids when they start going to school. But when this become like a problem, this will become problem if it's really prolonged and probably takes 2 months, 3 months, and they keep going on and on doing it. Then we really have to pay attention on it. And how can we identify? Well, it really shows on their actions. They fight with other kids, and then every day probably it's the same scenario that they're doing. Then it's gonna be a problem. But how do we help them with this behavior, or how do we fix them? As a teacher, I've learned so many things going to workshops, or probably, you know, when we have workshop, other teachers will teach us or help us how to deal with this. Discipline or conscious discipline on how we discipline the kids. Your tone of voice or how you discipline kids, and then how you go down to their level. It's about connection rather than, you know, punish them. I know as a teacher, it's really hard for us because we only work with them like 8 hours. They stay with us. But yeah, I will just help you about this conscious discipline, that you can really fix this behavior. And this philosophy teach children how to, you know, regulate and manage their emotions in order to make it safe and healthy choice. But you know, as a parent or a teacher, it has to focus first to us. In other words, in order to best help our children with this conscious discipline, we need to do the work on ourselves first, on our own emotions first. Like what I said, it's about connecting with kids rather than giving them punishment. It teaches us adults to control our emotions, response to children, so they can stay, you know, present at that moment. Connect with child and then work through the feelings the child is having together. So there's so many like behavioral problems, but these two are really like common for preschool age, and I've seen this a lot, so many times. And then it's kind of like, it's always like repetitive, right? So, and then it's easy for me now to work on because I've seen it and I've done it. And then, you know, when children are not listening, as a parent, to not be listening to you, instead of yelling at them, maybe you go instead and make your eye contact, you know, to form a connection. I think that's the best part, is like to really eye contact with them and go down to the level. And there's another question. What is a good trait your child should learn before he is 6 years old? There are so many traits that, you know, we look forward for the children to have it before 6 years old. The ability to love and appreciate life. So many, like, you know, courage, like learning anything or approaching the unknown, stepping up to new challenges. And then kindness, I think that's really important too. Like, great learners are kind to themselves, understand that learning is sometimes hard and not always possible to get right. And resourcefulness, creativity, assertiveness, humility, confidence, integrity, empathy, and those traits are really important for the children, the preschool age children, to have before they turn 6 years old. I hope these tips would help all of you parents. I know it's kind of different as a parent and as a teacher, but I know you will work on it and you'll make it. Thank you. Bye.
Things we should say more often. Thank you.
And not just on Thanksgiving, every day. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I forgive you.
Now it's time to recap.
Let's read it one more time. A person without self-control is like a city with broken down walls.
You're home. What are you doing with your time?
Online Sunday school is the place to be. Come learn of the Savior who died for you and me. He rose from the dead, he's alive forevermore. Ted Tap Sunday school is fun, come learn